I gave a shit about everything and what everyone had to say. I felt lost, I felt depressed, I felt confused about my life, and I felt like I needed a sole purpose in life to be able to feel good. And when I did not find that sole purpose in life, life felt like nothing. But it gets better. Over this past year, my life has felt a lot lighter. I felt like life is not a burden or a weight that is weighing on my shoulder. And over the time, I realized there are so many misconceptions that might have fell through in my mind that I have had about life. And I've come to a point of unlearning them and having new ideas or having new realizations that have helped put my mind in a completely different place in comparison to where I was a year or two ago. Hi stranger on the internet, my name is Nkemek-nti, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to blow up mentally through my own life experiences, how I have gone through some of the hardest times in my life, and how I've been able to navigate that and feel so much better. Without a snap, let's get into this video. Why I tried to get ready and show you how I got this done. Do you feel you're capable enough of changing your life? Then yes, but instead recognize you in your strengths and in your weaknesses. Look at the area in your life where you feel very confident in. Have you ever asked people for their opinions way too many times? No. If I am not coming to cry to you, I do not give a fuck about what you want to say. Fine, you need to pursue your passion and you're gonna be fine. No, you might not. But fuck that. You should still do it. Got myself some drinks. So the drink of the day is matcha. It is so hot in China. AC is on right now. My AC has been on for days on end. The electricity bill is high. I am adding to global warming, but global warming is about to kill me. So the look I'm going for is it's sort of a super blushy look. Starting on this video, I'm gonna say I'm not a guru. I am a 23-year-old girl that is sitting down in her bedroom right now filming a video to you and telling you that life is quite shitty. Life sucks, for some better, for some worse. But there is definitely a mindset in which you navigate life that helps you go through it in such a way that it doesn't deplete you. But the extent to which life gets better is how you navigate your relationships, your career, how you navigate or manage the things that comes into your mind, the relationship you have with yourself, the confidence that speaks from within and glows out, and making sure to take care of yourself. And the first topic, you gotta lay the foundation for yourself. You gotta own your own shit. Everything about this life, regardless of whether it was your fault or like the fact that you were born, it wasn't your fault, and the fact that you were born in whatever condition in which you were, and you've been shown into life in a way that you never imagined it to be or you never wanted it to be, because you're probably making the comparison to how other people's life has turned out, and you are it's unfair actually. It's actually unfair for you to come out the way you came out and other people came out the way they came out, and it seems like their life is so much more satisfactory than yours, and then you are just like, oh, I wish and I wish and I wish. If this didn't happen to me, if this didn't happen to me, my dreams would come true, everything would be set up right. Stop with the wishful thinking. You've got to lay the foundation for your life. When you get to a point in your life where you have to take ownership for yourself, take ownership of your entire existence. Mark Manson, the writer of The Subtle Act of Not Giving a Fuck, wrote that you are entirely responsible for your life, that every other thing that comes in, people might have contributed to the fact that your life is the way that it is, but you are the one that is most responsible for the way in which you want your life to go. Regardless of what has happened, what skills you've been able to harness from life, you have to use that and create the life that you want to live. But it's recognizing that you are the one that have the power to change your life, except that you feel that you're not capable of changing your life. Do you feel you're capable enough of changing your life? Then yes, if you feel capable enough, except you feel like you're not capable enough. When you feel like you're not capable enough is when you kind of throw the blame and use excuses. There's one thing in recognizing the pattern in which your life has been directed towards, but there is another thing to take ownership for it and be like, yes, my life has been thrown into this direction, but what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? It is more important to prioritize where you want to be or the person that you want to show up as in this life than actually sitting around and giving yourself excuses on the things that doesn't feel right. You know, someone who doesn't necessarily take the effort to do anything. It's just don't really take the time. I'm just happy to be around. Like if they do this, I'll do it. Like I'm just there, and whatever is happening, I'm just there. So when it came to relationship, and when I'm talking about these things, you are not just talking about, oh my god, I want to be this person that goes to the gym 5 times a day and does this and does this and does this, and that's why you are successful. Success is not a linear graph. You have to compact a lot of things about life and figure out how you want to be in those aspects. And that was why I brought in the idea of career, relationship, friendship, the relationship you want with yourself. Like you also have to sit down and reflect, how are you to yourself when you are by yourself? In what way is the relationship you have with yourself also influencing the way you interact with other people? I recognize one thing, that sometimes I might not really have an understanding about someone else's experience, and then I sit down with myself and I'm like, God damn, that person was going through it. This is what this person was going through. Being able to reflect that within myself, I'm able to have an understanding for someone else. Being able to give myself empathy, being able to forgive myself, I think I can have that for other people. Giving myself grace, I give other people grace. Because if I expect myself to be perfect, I also hold that expectation for other people. That's another point. You also have to have a great sense of self worth. When you feel like you're good to a certain degree, you don't put yourself in the places in which you're not meant to be. Even if you make a mistake and land there, you are not going to survive there for a very long time. So that's also another thing. You're going to hold yourself to the ground because you know you can provide that, and then you end up saying, this is not for me, and then you walk away from it. That says a lot. Do you see what I'm talking about, guys? It is not linear, like it literally goes everywhere. I don't think I'm very good at multitasking, and it is showing itself right now. So, over the past year has been a life changing time for me in terms of my mind. I think I've had some disappointing parts of life, but I really come into recognizing that I still have so much power to be able to make change. You have to be between a point of convincing truth and unclear convictions to make change or to want change. Like when you feel like everything you know is right, you're not going to want to make that change. You're not going to want to be open to making change. But when you feel like something doesn't feel right, when you realize that there is a spanner in the works, that's when you make that realization that you can make that change. Like there is something that can be worked on and there is something that can be changed. That goes along the line with the quote, between a rock and a hard place. Someone who obsessed a lot, who found the right words to express a lot of my pains and emotions, I also want to say, do not obsess over self improvement. Self improvement became a drug to me. It's like finding a prescription for pain and then taking it every single day not to feel that pain. And that was one of the things that I did when it came to self improvement. I once listened to a podcast, and in so many ways, I had almost like an awakening, and I was just like, wow, is this what I've been going through? Is this the person that I was? It made me question a lot of things, and it also brought a lot of things into perspective. It was important for me to go on that journey because it got me to a point where I actually had idea what I was going through. It created a sense of self awareness. As much as I had the awareness, but it is also very, very important to not make that your entire existence. It is also important to know that this life is not about perfection. Because it has proven you right in certain ways, you are making the fixation on what you lack. You are kind of creating this idea that when you improve yourself so much to a certain degree that it might make up for everything that you had gone through or been through or that you're not, and you're going to say, oh my god, I finally made it. I am no more that person that I used to be. But you are actually. You have to recognize the bad to make the good. You have to recognize that humans have it's almost like the point of yin and yang. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, but it happened, and this is where I'm at, or this is where I'm going to. And you can't fix everything, because sometimes what I did with self improvement was using it on people who have already made choices that had an influence on me. And I was like, if they were just a little bit better, if they were a little bit this, if they were a little bit that, but you're trying to make that about you. Like, it's so fucking selfish, man. That's one of the things I would tell myself, is not to obsess over that shit that I did. I think I was just trying to change my life, but I was trying to change my history too. And I feel like you cannot change your history. What you can do is to rewrite it, is to create new chapters. You have to rely on the new chapters to know that you can write the best stories about it. I recognize that there were times that I literally would have just stood up from my bed and done something for myself, but I was contemplating why the fuck I was not standing up from my bed and walking out. Instead of just saying I'm lazy, I immediately associated everything to this could be this and this could be that. All your behavior sometimes doesn't really have a root cause. It was because I had been able to recognize my behaviors from certain events in my life. So I now felt like I was in the position to be like, something happens to me, it must let me find a way. You really, really have to accept yourself. One of the things that I really did that helped me was distinguishing myself. I think I have three selves. There is the present me, there is the past me, there is the future me. So there is this idea where you can actually fantasize about the future you in the present, to the point that you're not present. And then there is a point where you can obsess over the past in making change, because you feel like you would have changed the present. What you have to do is make the distinction. And then when you say bye bye future self, bye bye past self, not exactly though. Wherever you are, where are you? I'm sitting in my room right now, and what am I doing? I'm wearing a white top, I'm wearing a this. How did I get to this point? Obviously, that's the past. Where do I want to be after here? That's the future. But right now, what am I? That's where you have to recognize, because there is a part of myself that wants something in the future that if I feel like the past me did better, I would have in the future, or my present self will have. No, like, take them away from you and then recognize what actions led you to this present. But when you do that, let go of whatever you felt could be fixed in that past to create a present you, but instead recognize you in your strengths and in your weaknesses, and use your strength to get you to the point where you feel like your future self can be made. Create logic with myself to understand the background that I came from, and to understand where I am, to understand what I've done the past few years, and to understand in what ways those were productive, and to understand that I had a certain dream, but it doesn't necessarily mean that in ways that I was productive, that has created something for me, that has taken up my time, is in direction to the dream that I had. So I had to recognize that differences. I had gained things from ways in which I was productive over these past years, although it did not take me to my dream, but I lived a life. And if I want to get to my dream, it has to take a new set of principles or a new set of rules to get to that point. And that is on accepting yourself and all of that. Now let's go into life. I want to say that life fucking sucks. And it doesn't even suck all the time, it just sucks sometimes. It sucks sometimes more than it should. One of the things I had to recognize is that we always want safety with life. We always want it to work out the way we want. In the end of it all, we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be in a place where we feel like, oh my god, shit is going to happen. I want to have a job that makes me feel secure. I want to have a job that might get me a house. If not, I'm gonna be homeless. I want to have a relationship that makes me feel loved and seen. I want this. Everything has to do with safe. Sometimes that thing that we want so bad might disappoint us. You could work so hard, you could do everything you want, yet you'd be so disappointed by the results of it. You could do the least of it all, and then you feel so blessed by the little that you did. You are just like, oh my god, these were not the results I expected. So you have to know that it holds both grounds, and that's the only way you will take the disappointment as a part of life and not this is what the hell is happening to me. Why is it always me? And if you feel like why is it always me, you have to either recognize if there is a pattern in the ways that these things are happening, and if there is a pattern, why? People say I'm lost. You feel lost in your 20s. I always feel like you are actually not lost. But I don't want you to carry the idea in your head that you are lost and you're going to constantly feel lost. If you want to find a direction, you will find. And feeling lost is almost like a lack of confidence in what you actually want to do. I think we do understand what we want, but there is a lot of underlying reasons to why. Knowing that outside of school, you don't have a structure, you don't have a grading system. There are no F's and C's. What people are mostly scared of is the fact that they're going to fail. They are going to not do well in the idea of something that they want to do. But truth is, you might not do well for a couple of years.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm just speaking it so that it doesn't mean you need to get a job and then you're gonna be fine. You need to pursue your passion and you're gonna be fine. No, you might not. You might not be fine, but fuck that. You should still do it. Like, oh, my parents might not be happy if I do this. Oh, this is gonna happen if I do this. That is mostly the reason why people feel like they're actually not doing well. It's just those little ideas that they are gonna fail in one way or the other. They're going to disappoint people. What do I want to do? What do I want my life to pan out as? And then you start making those decisions for yourself. You start creating systems to get to those goals. Make them a goal, don't make them dream. You start going into the process of practicing the actual thing that you want to be. When you do that, you have so much more confidence to knowing that that dream can be realized. You have to recognize that you don't need to plan your life out in a way that is almost like a template. Your life is not a template. You just have to understand to know what to work with. What do you have to work with yourself? And that is where I go to my next point. I think this has to do with life fucking sucks accepted is to understand that everything is temporary. When you recognize that everything will not eat you up, pain, loss, grief, everything is temporary. Whatever the fuck you're going through, it's not going to happen for the rest of your life. You have a long life ahead of you. If you're 20, add 40 to it, you're 60. 40 years, will you still be going through this pain? No. Most of the time, the way I handle my pains or like the things that I go through is mostly to isolate. I indulge myself, and that's even another thing I really want you guys to do is to really indulge yourself. But really give yourself all the space and the time to feel pain. Relish in it, feel it wherever the pain is coming from, recognize it, and know that it's not gonna be there forever. I had this thing about myself of recent, and I felt like a bad person actually. Like when someone is going through something bad or something that feels very foreign, I sometimes feel like I can't comfort them through what they are going through. I might say a few things that will make them feel a little bit better, but I always feel like I can't help the situation. Like I can't save you from this pain. You can be there for someone to lessen the pain. There is that comfort of companionship. But I just really recognize that as much as I could try to make someone feel better. I can't. And before, I think I used to feel the need to want to have people around me to kind of comfort me. No one would have been able to have saved me all those years. No one would have been able to save me from my pain. It was my responsibility to be able to do that for myself. So whenever I see that with people, and one of the things that we rush to do is to give people band-aids to cover themselves. I would say let people go through it. The strength in which you need to get through that is what's going to get you through every other thing. It's going to make you realize that this isn't the worst case scenario, that you will be fine. And the only thing you can mostly do in those times is just to try and be there for the person in what way, in what thing you can provide. Don't wait for life to happen to you, okay? Just don't wait for life to constantly happen. Don't wait around for something big to happen, for that one big miracle. Oh my God, if I got the job, my life is gonna change. You have to look within yourself or look around you and see what you can do for yourself. Don't wait around. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Like, don't wait around for shit to happen. You really have to take ownership for how you want life to happen. And you also have to know that everything is within your capability. What is not within your capability, you can always work to get there. And if it's not something that you can get to, you also have to practice the act of letting go. Letting go is not quitting. Letting go sometimes is important so that you can actually get to the place that you need to be. I want you to accept yourself like no one else would. I want you to stop going around seeking for validation from people. You have to act like you know that shit. There is a difference between believing in people's ability to tell you what you need, and then there is one way you don't even trust your own self to know what feels right for you. So you have to get to that place where you are just like, this is who I am, I know what I'm about, I am the source. And then you act like it. The reason why sometimes people recognize your insecurities is because you're seeking validation from them. You're seeking validation to upturn their insecurities. Look at the area in your life where you feel very confident in. Have you ever asked people for their opinions way too many times? No. So you have to act like that in every aspect of your life. But it's also important to be open to understanding things in which you might not have an idea of. But it shouldn't be about yourself. Sit down, write things about yourself that you know and everything, and get to that point where you feel complete, where you have complete self-acceptance. No one can shame you when you're there. No one can be raining on your insecurities because you fully accept yourself. Say, I'm the shit, believe it, act like it, and then you are. Do not limit yourself in anything you want to do in this life. There is so much limiting beliefs when it comes to either religion, families that we are from, ideas. Do not limit yourself based on what you're being told to be. Do not limit yourself on the way they say, as a woman, you should be this. Do not limit yourself in whatever the hell people say about shit about life. Don't put those limitations on yourself because you care what people think about you. Everything should be from inside out and not outside in. I'm sorry to put my mom's life out on the internet, but one time my mom called me from home and she was talking about a situation in which people had told her to do. It was an idea that people had given her, and she decided to do it. And one of the things that I recognized was that when my mom was going through the pain of that decision, she was the only one bearing the cross of it. If I am not coming to cry to you, I do not give a fuck about what you want to say. If you're not the one cleaning my eyes, no. And the people that will probably clean my eyes when I cry, I hold them to a standard in which I feel safe enough to take their opinions. You just can't take it from everybody. You can't just be letting everybody's opinion just be throwing you back and forth. You really have to respect your own self opinion and also keeping your promises. Keeping your promises to yourself gives you the idea that you are in control and that you know what the hell you're doing. The only way other people can trust you is pulling through the decisions that you make. If not, everyone is going to be telling you what the hell to do with your life because they feel like, oh, you just don't always have this thing covered. You never do anything fully. You always do it halfway. You gotta be able to trust yourself enough to trust your opinions, to not trust other people's opinions about yourself, to really give yourself all the space to be who you want to be. Another thing that I really learned last year was literally not letting kindness rule my life. I grew up with the idea that you have to be a kind person. I think it's just basically an African thing to be a kind person, to be loving to your neighbors, to love your neighbors as you love yourself, to put people, other people's first. It's a sense of community. Community is so big in where I'm from. I've been able to survive a lot of shit in my life because people helped me. And I've also grown up with those ideas to also be very helpful to people. But I think in many ways I could not set boundaries in the way I was kind. I also started holding expectations to other people to being like, why the fuck are you not as kind to me as I am to you? Or why the fuck are you not prioritizing me? Because I always push all my shit behind just to put you first or to like do what you want and you resent people for that reason. And the thing about kindness in the way I was taught was almost like you reap the reward of being a kind person. But being good, there is a spectrum to being good. And one of the things I recognize in people is how selfish, like how being selfish can take them really far. And I had to learn who I was being kind to. Why wouldn't this person just be better for me? Or like, why wouldn't they be good to me? Aren't they seeing the way I'm treating them? Like, why can't they also treat me like I am blaming, blaming, blaming? I had to sit down and ask myself, aren't you also stupid? Sorry, the words I'm using are just not like it's not the way in which I would express myself, but there is so much vim in this particular topic. Am I also not to blame in a certain way for not prioritizing myself and expecting that from someone else, for not setting my own boundaries, for not knowing my own needs and attending to them? And because I'm attending to someone else's need, I'm expecting them to do the same for me. That why can't I recognize these things in myself? You have to recognize in what ways that you might be giving a lot of energy and expecting a return that you are not getting, and also knowing to manage that. Kindness in itself is just an act that you do to other people. It doesn't take you anywhere. Kindness shouldn't be an equivalent of someone else doing it for you. It does build on expectation because it's a relationship and it should feel mutual. It should feel reciprocated. Doing it because it's your own self, that's just maybe the way you were raised. That is one thing you really have to learn as an adult to be able to say no, literally not kill yourself over trying for everybody, trying to be there for everyone. I feel like I've said a lot, honestly. I want you to not be an overthinker. Don't let your thoughts literally drain you. Don't obsess over things in your brain. Just think about the simplest thing that can be done in a situation and do it. The people who think the most are the ones that don't do the most. They don't do a lot. But the people who do the most are the people that don't think a lot. And what overthinking does is like it gets you to a point where you feel like you freeze or you feel debilitated and then you are not able to make a choice. You're not able to make a choice. You feel anxious. When you feel anxious constantly, you might end up in a place where you feel depressed. Not everything that comes into your brain is true. You have to create a filter for your brain. Another thing I would say is to really try and make that money. As a creative person, I think I rely on the fact that I wanted to make it successful in this world in terms of my creativity. But as an adult, I have come to realize that it is my responsibility to take care of myself financially. And to be able to get to my goals is being able to have the financial resources that helps me make everything come true. You're going to be able to have a certain sense of income while working on the career in which you want to have. You should really learn about everything that is important to life. Like you have to learn about career, your finances, everything. Like you need to learn the necessary lessons that are important. When you make money, it's not just all about making it, it's also about how you spend it. I didn't feel very confident in everything overnight. I don't still feel confident about everything, but I feel like I have a system in place to who I wake up to every single day. Every single day is a chance for you to make change. Do not wait for the new year to come by and you say next year I'm going to. The new year resolutions for me right now don't even matter anymore because I'm always just on the clock trying to get to where I want to be. Be very assertive. Learn to speak your mind, to be assertive, to let people know that this is how I feel about certain situations, or letting people know what you want. It's so important to just not be walking like a ghost. Ruins relationship, you end up resenting those people for being themselves in the way that they felt comfortable because you gave them that space to be because you never actually advocate for yourself. And in the same way, I say advocate for yourself in terms of your career, you speak to people, build connections, networking. All this shit I learned, I always just wanted to be on my own. And these people say you have to be out there and act like this life is yours to live. You have to tell people about the things that you want, and if they're capable of doing it for you, they're going to do it. I'm done with my makeup. This is my normal day-to-day makeup actually. I just added more blush to it. I never go wrong with makeup. It always feels good. It always feels good. I look cute. Guys, indulge yourself. Take a rest. Whenever you feel like not doing something and you sit around and beat yourself up about the fact that you're not doing what you said you were going to do, you are wasting time. You are actually wasting time, wasting energy. When you don't feel like doing something, take the rest. Take that time. When you give yourself time to rest, is when you're going to come off stronger and be able to say, yes, I took the time to rest. Now it's time for me to do. And live a little. Life is not what's next, what's next, what's next. Make life an experience where you get to experience so much part of it. Don't just rely on the fact that where next do I need to get to. Your happiness is not there. Your happiness is in living every day. What this video was all about was just trying to tell you that when you put your mind into it and you make the act want to be better, it does get better. You don't lose autonomy over situations when they are not good. You still have a lot of opportunities to make change for yourself. Make it look beautiful, go about your day glowing, and thank you so much for watching. If you stayed to the end of the video, you're a real one. I think you should maybe like drop a purple heart. No, drop a white or pink rose. Just drop any colored rose in the video. And I know that you stayed to the end. And thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, stay tuned. I will be consistent. I promise that now. And see you in my next video. Bye.